Yeah.
That was hard.
Oh, here we are. Welcome to the meeting.
Oh, stretch the shoulder out.
Oh.
All right, let me get my hammer. 1 minute after 5. Tonight's meeting is a relatively easy agenda. Public forum, approval of past meeting minutes, water commissioner appointment, trust fund appointment, commissioner's appointment, NEMCOG representation, a police department mutual aid agreement, treasurer collector update, town administrator report, new and old business, and hopefully we're going to adjourn at about 9 o'clock. No, kidding.
You
6.
can. You'll be fine.
So public forum. Okay.
Sparse.
Approval of meeting minutes from 5/23/23. So I read through these.
Which one am I looking at?
5/23/23.
3, I see. Do I have the right agenda? I don't have the right agenda.
Oh, you know an extra one?
I'm looking at March. I'm like, why are we approving March
I
minutes?
was really this one, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I originally gave somebody mine with my notes on it.
Ah.
There you go.
All right, that makes more sense.
I read the minutes. They look good.
I had a few corrections that I did send to Sue. Do you have them there? I don't think I have those either. My book didn't get updated.
There you go.
You did get updated.
So one of the things that I wanted to just correct was on,
Do you want me to pull it up with you and I can?
I think I've got it right here. So we were talking about the rotation of the board. That actually was actually on the first page, second paragraph. So to correct that, that rotation didn't start with me. That's just been a past practice of the board. So I had that
Yep, I
corrected.
made that change.
Okay.
Yes, it's not, 7
Yeah.
years. Yeah, you're right.
The only way I got involved with that is there was sort of a hiccup in the process after my first term, and then things came up and whatever, so I was on it for a couple years in a row.
Okay.
So, and then there was discussion about in the town meeting and election results. There was discussion on, for the project, the concept project at 41 Lowell Street. And I just made a correction to, if I can find it. The last paragraph on the page where it says the proposal for 41 Lowell Street only requires, I corrected that to say that a 41B 55 plus project, such as the conceptual one at 41 Lowell Street, because nothing's been approved, that the law requires 80% of the unit, a minimum of 80% of the units be 55 and older, but that can be changed by the applicant. They can make it 100%. And then
They can make it 95%. Not all of it can be designated 55.
not all. Okay.
It has to be 95 is the maximum
Okay.
percent.
All right. I didn't give I just said they could increase that.
Yeah.
And then I mentioned something about the businesses in town, and that we did have a market study done of the town regarding the business. So those were my changes.
Should we wait to see the next version of these? Because it sounds like Sue, they're not incorporated in these, right?
They're not incorporated,
They're not.
but I did send it to
But I
her.
Okay.
did
Yeah.
make the changes and sent the document.
Okay.
to you guys.
Okay.
And so this, which is in draft, has those changes.
The printed version does not.
Does not
Because
have the
those
changes.
just came in.
Yep.
Right before the meeting.
Yeah.
But the electronic version that I have
Okay.
does. So when you approve them, those are the ones that you're approving?
Yep.
Do you want me to print them out?
You can either approve them as amended just now,
Yeah.
or wait for the next meeting.
Well, she had emailed them around. So like the ones I read driving down were the version that were updated.
Okay.
So I'm comfortable with Leah's amendments to the May 23rd minutes. If Ron is.
I am too. Yeah,
So I'll
I'm
make a
fine,
motion
as long
to-
as Sue has that,
Yeah.
She
those
has,
changes captured, let's not hold the process up.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'll make
So
a
do we have a
motion
motion to
yep.
approve? Yeah,
Make a motion to approve May 23rd, 2023 minutes with Leah Basbane's amendments as discussed.
Right,
And
second.
Sue has them just to make sure.
Yep, she has. Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Next. Appointment of John O'Brien to the Board of Water Commissioners. And want to just walk us through that, how all this has evolved with, we have an opening, right? I mean, okay, so we've had an opening for some period of time now. This wasn't something that just jumped out of the bushes at us, right? And so right now we have an elected member, so we don't have a failure to elect, we elected. And now we're gonna fill that open seat with John, who's raised his hand and said, I wanna take that spot, right? So that's so now the water board will have a full board, which is kind of neat. Yeah, it's kind of neat.
Yeah, what a concept.
Yeah.
Not a lot of
That's good.
discussion
That
here
worked out.
is necessary. I guess I'll make a motion to appoint John O'Brien to serve Water Commission for a term that expires on June 30th, 2026.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
You want
Aye.
the
Oh,
motions?
sorry.
All in favor?
Yeah. Oh, okay.
I got it right here.
You do. Okay.
Aye. Leah, you're
Aye.
an aye. Yeah,
Sorry.
Good to go.
Congratulations. You
Yeah.
just gotta remember, you gotta get sworn in before the next meeting.
My one question is if, I know we have two vacancies, not for you, just in general, we have two vacancies on advisory. So if we have some
Correct,
volunteers, the same process? Because these are elected positions technically, so now we're able to appoint them on the fly post-election. Okay. So I know a couple people that are interested, but they didn't want to have to do an election.
Yeah.
Cool.
So are we, all right, we won't do that just yet. I'll wait till the end. All right, next on the list, appointment of Susan Tully to the Commissioners of Trust Funds. Do we have a motion to approve?
I move to appoint Susan Tully to serve on the Commissioner of Trust Funds Board for a term that expires on June 30th, 2026.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Sue's not
No.
here. She's okay with this, right?
Yes, she asked for
No.
She asked for it. We'll give it to her. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Mutual aid agreement, which is a police mutual aid agreement, right?
It is.
NIMCOG? Or are we skipping that?
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm ahead of myself. Yeah, discussion and appointment of the NEMCOG Dunstable representative.
That's one that I had been doing. I'll be honest, not a lot of the stuff we do with NIMCOG is super applicable to us. So I would actually like to step back away from that in case there's someone else who's more interested.
Well, I think NEMCOG is, I hear you, when you sit at those meetings and they're talking about purchase of new buses for the Lowell Transit. I don't think a Lowell Transit bus has ever driven through the town. So I'm not sure how applicable some of that is, but on the other side of it, they have been a valuable resource to us.
They've done a lot. for us.
Yeah, they have.
Yeah.
They have. Over the years, they've been a plus for us. And so we want to continue that representation. And if he doesn't want it and you don't want it, I'll be glad to take it.
I feel like I'm on a lot.
I'm
And I'm on not the Union Building, the MS4, I'm Stormwater, I'm on
Water
CPC,
company,
Conservation,
Yeah.
the list goes on, so.
So let me ask this question. There's at least from my knowledge, right, there was a delegate, wasn't there an alternate delegate?
So there's an appointment that the planning board needs to make to the council. And then the select board needs to make a appointment for a member to the council and an alternate member of the council, to the council.
So the planning board has a member.
They just made an appointment at their last meeting.
And
after
that,
they reorganize.
that's a full member.
That's a full member.
Select board needs a full member.
Yeah.
And then the town needs an alternate.
Correct.
Who have we had for our alternate?
Never.
Never?
Not to my knowledge. We've never had an alternate from the select
I
board.
don't know.
We've never had a planning board member either,
Okay.
for what it's worth. And the background of that group is it's a lot of planning board members from Pepperell. I don't think even Tony Beatty, I don't think even their select board members go to that anymore. It is planning board. So take that as you will.
Yeah. So I don't know. If we had an alternate, Wally was on that board for like 29 years. Who was the alternate?
I have no idea.
Did we
I
never
don't-
have one?
I was never,
So in lieu of.
so would it be a select board member to be the alternate or
It
just
doesn't-
anyone at
It
large?
actually doesn't have to be. Jenny
Okay.
actually suggested appointing me as alternate, so
Yeah.
that it's, so, and I'm okay with that if you want to do that. No pressure though.
Yeah, yeah.
So.
Just give Jason something else to do.
Yeah.
It's
Seems
completely
fair.
up to you. I'm fine with it, but again, if there's somebody else that wants to do it, that's fine as well.
So they would be really there as in
In
case
In
the,
the case of. yes.
right.
Yeah, but I think that someone that needs to be in that alternate position needs to be someone of knowledge of the in-workings. And when we move off and go into other boards and ask people to join, we may not necessarily get the right mix. And so
For
If
what
it-
it's worth, we're not actually voting on much there. Like it's budgetary numbers for like massive highway projects that like we have very little relevancy to what's going on at Dunstable. Like and that became painfully obvious a few times.
Yeah.
And they are great with the help they give to us in sort of our micro community.
Yeah.
But again, we're not the same as Tewksbury. Like it's night and day.
Right.
So
I don't disagree. But
So
they
that's-
were a significant help to us with the master plan, right? I mean,
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
They did a lot of the legwork.
And
with
they've
that.
worked with us with the open space plan. They're working with us with the MPV and working with us in Union
Yeah.
Building Committee.
EV stations.
They do stuff for, if they make our maps, so, I mean, it's not,
They're a great resource.
they're a great resource for us and, you know, we don't want to just ignore them. I mean, I totally get your point. Probably 75% of what they do is not relevant to us, but
Yeah.
nonetheless, we still need to have a showing.
it's not even so much ignore them as like
Yeah,
just, and tried to explain this to Jenny, like you
Yeah.
gotta find a way to like make the meetings more functional. And maybe it's just me airing my grievances about it, but like
yeah,
to do a roll call vote for, who's here tonight. I'm like, you spend 15 minutes just giggling about who's here. And
Yeah.
I'm like, this is a waste of time. Like, and I tried to give her that feedback and I said, you guys are awesome. You gave us some great resources, but you gotta be more efficient with people's time.
yeah.
So if there were a real go-getter planning board member, you might have them. I don't think you have to have a select board member be the leader in the clubhouse to it unless I'm wrong. Right?
Just
Like,
what she asked for is an appointment from the planning board, appointment from the select board, and then an alternate appointed by the select board.
Okay.
yeah.
I'm a little reluctant to have the alternate also be a select board member just for the quorum stuff.
That's a good, yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Is there someone on the planning board that's really interested in it? Because
Did
if
they
Ron's
take-
too busy, I'd be the alternate. As like, the sub in from the bullpen, but like,
yeah, but that's an open meeting potential conflict.
but if he didn't want to do it,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh,
then you have just a planning board member be one and then the alternate be the select board member.
but they're asking for a member from select board.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have
I don't
problems.
think they know why
Is there
they're
a
asking
planning
for
board member that is now
They don't like.
Yeah.
elected to NIMCOG?
So I think it was Joe Bolcheck, but I think he
declined.
well, unless you want to wait till December and then he becomes available. So it didn't based on just that back and forth, it didn't sound like there were people jumping out of their chairs to serve on NIMCOG. So I don't know that there's someone. I
Question,
don't know.
just a question, why all of a sudden, is this something new? I mean, I know Walter used to always do the NEMCOG, and I don't think anybody really has that I know of has stepped up. And did you, Karen, did you used to?
I go to the meetings, but I mean, again, and I'm not going to denigrate Walter's service, but as much as my attendance is limited to their meetings, I think everyone's has been in the past.
Yeah.
That's neither here nor there, but
Is there some reason why we absolutely have to,
We're part of the community, and they do provide a service to us, so it's important for us to have a member on
is it
there.
part of our agreement that we have to, I'm just trying to understand whether this is something that's absolutely required or.
I mean, we pay into it, right?
We do.
So we pay into it and we
Yeah.
get some, we do get defined benefit, whether it be EV research, master plan, housing production plan, things of that nature. They are a good resource for it. In the grand scheme of things, it's very, again, micro compared to the redoing the Chelmsford Bridge. That's going to impact
Right.
1 million people, compared to, Dunstable getting an electric vehicle charging station at the town hall.
Yeah, but that's okay.
But I mean, just like getting to like macro, micro, different.
Absolutely, and I'm actually glad that it's different, but so.
I'm sure somebody from the planning board, as I understand it, they meet via Zoom.
Yeah,
And it's what Wednesday is at 7 o'clock, supposed to be an hour. Is it an hour?
it's more than an hour.
It's more than an hour,
It's usually 2 to 2.5.
2.5.
Those meetings are chatty.
And I suppose they put out an agenda prior to the meeting, so
They do.
you can review the agenda ahead of time and see if it's worth your time if it's not worth, but relevant for Dunstable to make an appearance.
Yeah.
Well, I think Carol was gonna put it on our agenda for our next meeting to try and.
Okay. Well, I think,
I'm sure we'll
So-
scare up something.
So let's, I'll take the primary.
okay,
We'll ask Jason to act in our alternate capacity, right? And then when they get reconvened or reorganized, they can select someone and we'll go from there. So I think the motion would be that Ron will take the primary, Jason's going to be the alternate, and that'll fulfill our requirement. I do think we need to participate with them.
I do too.
There
yeah.
are there are still some things in the horizon we may want them, or learn from some of the pain some of the other towns are going through. So I don't know. I over the years I've gone to a couple of those meetings for whatever we were chasing down something, but
Can anybody zoom into their meetings? Or is this-
I think you need an invite.
Yeah, they're not, they're on our,
They're posted
Calendar,
public
right?
meetings, yeah.
They
yeah,
are
Yeah.
public meetings?
I'm
Yeah,
trying to
I'm
think,
pretty-
is it a
I'm pretty
public
sure
meeting?
they're posted public meetings.
Yeah.
fair,
Yeah.
okay.
So do we have a motion?
I'll move to appoint Ron Michael to serve on the NIMCOG Council and appoint Town Administrator Jason Silva to serve as alternate member of the NIMCOG Council for the Dunstable Select Board.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, now on to item 7, a new aid agreement for the police department.
It's not a mutual agreement, this is, been in place for quite a while, but this is the one where it's looking to update signatures
No changes.
So does this agreement in any way tie in with the certification of the department? And
Nope.
nothing is at risk with that, right?
This has been in place since before that agreement was processed.
Okay. So this is just kind of a reconstitute of an existing, right? We're not making changes. Got it.
Good with the motion?
Do we have a motion?
Move to approve the Massachusetts Interagency Mutual Aid Agreement with towns and cities located in Middlesex County, sponsored by the Middlesex Chiefs of Police Association, and authorize the chair to sign the agreement on behalf of the board.
Do you have a second?
I second that.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Beauty. Mutual aid agreement. So, treasurer collector update. Who's presenting that?
I will very briefly, if that's okay.
You may.
Thank you. So I sent an email out, I hope all you received it yesterday, just as an update to where we're at. Just to go through it real quickly, we internally put together a screening team, basically the finance team here in Town Hall. We had, originally had 4 candidates, 1 candidate dropped out, so we had 3 candidates for the position. They all came in and interviewed. Each member of the team, the screening team, it was Sue, me, Susan Bresnick, Vicky, and Bonnie. I think that was it. And so we all went through and ranked the each candidate, which you all have. And thought the process up to this point was really good. I was glad to have some members of staff help with the process. I think we have some candidates, very capable candidates with relevant experience. And so I guess that's in a nutshell where we're at. So the question now is how do we want to move forward, and who do we want to bring forward for interviews in front of the board? And so, we have, I think Bonnie is being very gracious with her time and commitment to the town. We still really appreciate that. I think mid-July is where it gets a little tricky because she has commitments. And so, I think she's very willing to continue to help even with the Transition beyond that.
Yeah.
But her availability is less, I think, at that point. So, some sense, time is of the essence with this as well, just so we can take advantage of her experience and knowledge for the transition as well. We are right now, we still have Mass Muni Fin on board, helping us with catch up. And so been talking to them more than weekly on that, and they're close to, first of all, they're not cheap, frankly. So so that we're paying a decent amount of money to have them help us. And so just, I guess I'd mention that just to keep that in mind as we work to transition into a new person, because I think any of the candidates are going to need a plan for
Onboarding.
training, onboarding, and support systems in place so that we can, set them up for success in the position.
So we need to make a recommendation who to put forward, or is that?
Did everyone read
Yeah.
the documents that were shared? I mean, they were all.
I did. They all seemed great. I
Yeah.
mean, but I would go along with the recommendation of the committee of the two. But
That was mine. That was not just, I want to make sure.
okay,
That was my recommendation,
Okay.
not the full committee's recommendation. So,
And I think for the sake of integrity for the 3 people, let's avoid using their names tonight. Okay, just want to make sure we're abundantly clear. A small part of me believes that meeting all 3 would be wise. That's been both positive and negative for us so far with some of our hires. More positive than negative, I think. But I believe we have some of the interests of the taxpayers to meet them and chat with them, ask some questions, get to know them, as much as these guys from that group have.
so you're asking for inviting the
Yeah.
public into job interviews.
What we did for the other positions for
I know.
the former treasurer collector, the town clerk,
It's a
and
very uncomfortable situation. It is what it is, but it's just very uncomfortable.
It is, but I'd say based on my interpretation of their resumes, they're all a little different.
Yes. agreed,
And
yeah.
if I'm being perfectly honest, none of them have any municipal background. So I think
Right.
that makes it really, puts a lot of pressure on them. And I think we ought to absorb some of that pressure without setting someone up for failure here. We've seen how that went for, I'll use our town clerk. She had no experience and she's, grabbed on, through a pretty chaotic time. It's tough to do. And I think this person would be walking into a similar mindstorm,
Well, I think that's been the case for several of our.
Everything, yeah.
Just, even for our team.
It's big.
Especially for our department heads here sitting in the crowd. But I mean, I think
Well, yeah, I'm not opposed to that.
if they're comfortable coming, I think it'd be wise for us to ask questions, whether they're just sample questions.
True.
Uh,
I would go along with that.
We want to plan on that for I think it's the 20th, the next.
20th, I'm not around,
Oh, so we won't plan on it then.
but
Do we want to try to get this done sooner or like
Yeah.
next week or?
Yeah, if we can, if that works.
And I don't mind doing a meeting next
13th.
week.
13th.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree with everything
Yeah.
you're saying. I would not push it out.
That would be better.
Any
13th,
anymore.
I'm
I mean,
available
we're just-
13th.
Yeah.
We're in a short string as it is
Okay,
now, right?
Perfect. Yep. Same time, 5.
If they're available, or-
Okay.
We can see, yeah, hold on a second. I just want to be sure I get.
Yep.
Shut together. So we're gonna, yeah. The 13th.
Yep.
Which is a week from today, right?
mhm.
5.
Yeah, I don't know about that one.
Oh, come on, Ron.
How about 5:30?
All right. Sure.
Does that work?
Mhm.
5:30?
Okay.
Great, thank you.
Can I just ask a question, like, how much per candidate? 30 minutes, 45 minutes?
No, I don't think we did that. I think we were like 15 minutes. a
20,
candidate.
25.
Yeah, it wasn't that long.
Were you that traumatized? You just don't remember going through the budget?
I was so in the moment, I don't remember how long it was.
All right. So 5:30 next week for interviews.
And does our opening remain, is it still up on like MMA, places like that?
I don't think it's up on MMA anymore, but
Okay.
it's still up on, there's like a professional association that I
Yeah.
posted it on. And it's on, I posted on Master List, or
Yep.
and so I posted it there too.
Okay.
It's on those, I think it's still on those.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, so much for that. Next, town administrators report.
Okay. Few quick things. So first, I think all of our year-end transfers are into finance. Some need slight tweaks, but there are a fair amount of departments that are going to require transfers. I gave you a list that I think is complete at the moment. So the largest one that needs the largest adjustment is the treasure collector department. So you'll see that. And also appointments, reappointments, both of those we're hoping to have to you by if we're not gonna meet on the 20th,
Well, we can meet on the 20th, just next week's an addition.
but you can't be.
I will
Oh,
not
you
be-
won't be
I'm
here.
not here the 20th. I'm turning 39 that day.
Oh,
We could meet without you.
I wish you all the best.
Yeah.
Well, I've had my
Sometime
I will have my squeaker time, but
Yes,
early in the afternoon.
Ah, see, squeaker hour.
So anyway, if we meet that week or the board meets the week after, sometime we'll have those to you.
Yeah, the following Tuesday after the 27th is July 4th, so I know we won't be here for that either,
Yeah.
so. just as a heads up in
Okay.
terms of how the lay of the land for meetings to come.
Yeah,
So maybe another day in the week of the 19th, that works.
Yeah.
Okay.
well, June, the 19th is a
Juneteenth
holiday.
closed.
Oh, yeah, jeez. Yeah, so either the 21st or 22nd, I guess.
Yep.
21st, 22nd, I'm out of here.
Oh my God, you're pinning you down
The
now.
charity golf tournament.
Is the 21st out?
21st works.
That works.
That works for
Okay.
Okay. Maybe we can shoot
Will you
for the
be
21st.
recovered between that sandwich of activities?
How intense is squeaker time? Yes.
Okay.
One way or the other.
So just an update on the PFAS issue. I got an email, I think this morning, or yesterday, that there is a meeting on the books for Friday with DCR and Mass DEP to go over the schedule and timeline for both options to address the PFAS issue at the high school. So Hoyle Tanner is planning to attend, hoping to attend.
Good.
That's Friday. We have one complete, if it's not complete, it's very, very close to complete application for a liquor license at the general store. So we'll soon be advertised. Sue has been really handling the liquor license every
been a
time
good
having to
time,
do it.
Yeah.
And doing a great job with it, so.
Do you pass the general store on your way home from meetings now?
It's on the way.
So that's been really helpful. So we'll have to advertise the public hearing once we confirm that the application is complete. And so we also have one in the process, which is still being reviewed, and there's back and forth, and that's with the wine and cheese proposal.
That's awesome.
And Pleasant. And then just FYI, Sue and I have also been working on kind of a communications plan having to do with variety of avenues we're hoping to take advantage of to improve the way town hall communicates with the community. So I think we have a pretty good draft that's close to final. And I think once we're comfortable there, we're hoping to just launch the town Facebook page. If not this week, next. And I'll send out the plan just so you can see it, and feel free to comment and add anything you'd like.
Would it be good to do like a what's happening? I know that was pretty labor intensive. I'm not trying to add more work to your plate, but if you're going to launch a town Facebook page, can we throw it into the what's happening next version of that? Whether it be a QR code or something, because that would be a really nice way to pair it up, and then you can layer it with an email out saying, here's a new version, here's a new way we're trying to connect with you folks. Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
You like the cool mailings that have like 350th doing this, and this is what's, history done. So I think that whether people like it or not, they're getting information. It's showing that the building's active.
Yeah.
I think people are starting to appreciate that because they may not be able to come here in person, but maybe online's the way to keep pushing it. So
we do have a post kind of in the queue for under news and announcements that would kind of announce, hey, we're on social media.
Yeah.
Yay. So we can definitely add it to the newsletter too.
or you can even like do a drip campaign. So it's on the town website, then it's in what's happening, and then it's in a weekly mailer,
Just
it's like different
everywhere.
ways to try to get people.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even given some thought about how to take advantage, even the YouTube channel we have to broadcast the meetings. Like we don't have to use it just to broadcast meetings. We can use it for announcements or monthly updates with the town administrator or the chair of the board or whatever,
Right.
to talk about what's happening, and then push it out through the website, through social, etc. So,
In our meetings, this is a very random question, but can you watch our meetings on the channel 31?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay. I was wondering, someone asked me that. They're like, I can't watch the meetings anymore. I'm like, that's been years.
Yeah. It's been years.
It was, just a random question off the cuff.
it's going to happen.
Yeah, I know it takes time. So this is a no pressure question.
Yeah.
So just one that I hadn't checked recently. So.
The goal is for this to be broadcasting and to be
Cool.
all at one time, recording and streaming.
Sweet. That'd be awesome. I'll try not to curse anymore then. My mom
It makes it
slapped me
fun
on the
when you
wrist
go
for
back
cursing in a
to
meeting. She's like, Kieran, get it together.
You're still being watched, so, you know.
My mom.
Yeah, right.
Can I back up?
Yeah.
Year-end transfers.
Yep.
Okay, there's 10 items on there. Are all of those 10 items needing transfers to be made whole?
Yes.
The snow and ice account isn't whole?
So some of these are just expense, salary expense. So the salary line is overspent, but we have plenty of cushion in the expense. So it's literally just transferring snow expense to snow salary.
So it's not new money that's being needed to
It's-
put somewhere.
Okay,
It's not
so
that-
these aren't
That
overspent.
budgeted, well, some are.
Some are, I
Some
get,
are,
but
but that, the snow, so snow's not overspent, elections not overspent, fire's not overspent. I think the others are.
that's fine. And we're gonna have some discussion about what we're doing with these things, because,
Absolutely.
you know, that, the snow just jumped out of the bushes
Yeah.
at me, and
Yeah.
certainly streetlights.
It's like the electricity bill. We just got it today.
It's ridiculous.
It's
No, that's not the way that is,
it's
though.
wild.
Double this month.
The streetlights?
Yeah, it's,
No, not electric bill.
Oh,
Electric bill in general.
Yeah.
Our electric bill this time period last year was 600 and change, it was 1200 and change.
That's the kilowatt hour we're at right now. You got to farm it out to like, I finally did it at my house. I'm down to 13.5 cents per kilowatt hour.
that's
From the,
because you hired another
we
buying from
Changed the
Constellation.
supplier.
changed the supplier from public service, from Eversource or whatever it is
National
to
Grid.
National Grid, sorry, to public service. And it's an 18-month, like, I can't keep this up. Like, this is nuts. Like,
yeah,
and it's a $50 cancellation fee. I'm like, this is a no brainer.
yeah. You can choose your supplier through National Grid, so.
I think this is part of the contract, the solar contract. I think
The
that
next
has,
amp is the main income.
what is it?
Next amp.
Yeah, I think that
Next amp,
has
yeah.
something to do with it. And I think we're locked in with them for some time. So,
I mean, Pepperell's trying to start their own power grid because of this.
Westford's
Really?
doing the same thing.
Westford has done a cooperative collaboration, whatever the word is.
Yeah.
I remember, I think when Jason
I
first
still
started.
want, that is something on the list. I still really want to look into this, the municipal aggregation
Yeah.
Right, yeah,
program, because it is worthwhile. The problem is right now going to market is not a great time to go to market,
Yeah.
obviously. So you're going to lock in prices that are higher than others.
Right.
But it's still something that we should really look at. It will require some outside assistance, kind of scoping it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speccing it, but it's something we really should do and is on the list. It's just,
Yeah. It's tough.
that's going to take
Time.
it will take time. But we should. I totally agree.
And streetlights is throwing me for a loop.
Yeah, that's
So we bought all the streetlights from National Grid.
Yeah.
And we converted, and this is project not done yet. We converted, 86 of the 92 streetlights, right?
Yeah.
And there's still like 6 left that never got done.
Yeah.
And we had, at least I'll go through my stuff because I'm like a pack rat. We had what I thought was an annual operating expense from the grid for each streetlight. It's like $10 a year for a 11-watt LED streetlight. And so that was all part of,
I don't know.
what was the name of the engineer? Rise Engineering,
When was this?
3 years ago.
3 years ago.
I don't know.
So, all right, so I'm gonna go into the closet and pull my stuff out, right? Because the streetlights should not have an overspend unless we misbudgeted it going into the deal. I don't know,
No.
but
I don't
streetlights,
think it was misbudgeted. I
it's
think it
like
was-
$10 a year for an LED streetlight. We own the streetlights.
It's got to be more than
Well, the
that.
budget's 15 or something, so it's not $10 a year for a street light.
Well, I'm telling you, it is. It's funny money. It is. I'll dig it out from Rise and
I thought it was like
because-
$10,000 a year for the streetlight. I don't know.
yeah, but what happened is we
Okay.
own the
Yeah, we
lights.
changed that whole
The
deal, yeah.
National Grid doesn't own the streetlights anymore.
Yeah.
We bought them.
Yeah.
We retrofitted them with LED heads and did all that work. But
Yeah.
when there's a streetlight out, we have to call an electrical contractor to come and fix the street light.
Mhm.
Right? And so there should be a ton of money left in that account, or that
There's not.
$10 a year is like, where do we sign? Was the motivation behind it.
Mhm.
And that, as best as I remember, was a multi-year agreement.
I hadn't thought about this one for a while, but yeah.
I'll go through it, but
Yeah.
that's just jumped out at
I'm
me.
I'm
but
just, the requests are just based on,
Yeah, you got invoices coming in.
yeah, that's it.
I mean, the one thing that you're
I
gonna get,
wasn't, it wasn't gonna be on there until today, honestly. We didn't even have anything on there until today when we got the bill.
what's gonna get you is the bandstand.
Hmm,
That's coming around the corner.
yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, if you have, if
Yeah,
you have that,
yeah.
okay. Where was I? Oh, I sent also in draft form, some goals and objectives that Sue and I have worked on as well.
Yeah, that looks fantastic, by the way.
So, thank you. So, yeah, maybe first meeting in July, I was thinking just kind of workshopping it and
Yeah.
making sure it captures what the board wants to see in the coming year and add and subtract to it as you think should be done. I think I mentioned to all of you, I received a call over the weekend from Jim Tully, expressing his and his partner Matt McGovern's interest in donating about $53,000 to allow for us to maintain staffing levels in the fire department for the coming year. I think it was, some of the motivation was his very recent experience watching the response from the fire department of the fire at on Lowell Street at the Vermont property, and I think after a conversation with the fire chief, he I don't know, they're inclined to make a donation, but so any donation has to be formally accepted by the board. So I wanted to make you aware, but certainly would help next year, maintain staffing in the fire department. So
has he formally proposed this?
he has formally asked me to say what I just said at this meeting. And if the board is inclined, he will appear at a future meeting this month, I would say, to talk to you all about it.
Does that have to go to town meeting?
No, it just needs to be approved by the board.
I'm going to guess our fire chief is inclined to accept that donation.
I mean, no,
I am too, because you don't look a gift horse in the mouth when we're about to reduce the per diem firefighting coverage in town. And we've had both a fire, a AED-esque life compression need save. Who am I to say no to that? If it meant someone else's life's going to be saved in town,
it's not a long-term solution. It's not a
No, not at
long-term
all.
solution,
No,
but
if it was in perpetuity, even better. But I know
even better,
it's
but
not.
it gets us through a year where, and frankly, no one likes the reduction in staff in the fire department. We all know that. So if it gets us through another year, chewing gum and Band-Aids, okay, well, that will do it. But I mean, it's a very generous offer, obviously. And, yeah, it's
So what, are we discussing this now? It's not really on the agenda.
no,
so,
I
okay.
mean,
It's
This is
his
just a
report.
heads up.
yeah,
Okay.
just a heads up, really. And as long as the board's okay with it, we'll put it on a future,
On the agenda.
Future agenda.
Yep.
Okay. I talked to the chair about this, but Charlie Rich has been in the office several times about the possibility of constructing a firefighters memorial here in town, funded through the Richard Bacon Memorial Trust. I've met with him. I've had several conversations with him. Met with him a couple times with the fire chief, And so he's working to get funding for it through the trust. And I think before he kind of commits funding to it, he'd like to know that the town is at least on board with the concept. So again, I think this is probably a future meeting of the board conversation, but I just wanted to give a heads up.
So there are a few things that they'd have to go through Memorials Committee.
Yeah,
And where is he?
exactly.
What's this?
Yeah, lots.
Now, the only problem
Few
with the
hurdles.
Memorials Committee is it's a committee of one at the moment.
Ah.
So it's,
So I would volunteer for that if I'm signing off of NIMCOG, if that would help that cause, because I've had a couple Iraq and Afghanistan folks approach me and say, we want to participate in Memorial Day, but we don't have anything out there.
We don't have anything out there for what?
Iraq and Afghanistan veterans.
There's no memorial on the common there.
Yeah. There's,
for the
they're looking, what he's saying is that they're looking to create a couple more memorials out there.
Yeah. And I don't know what the capacity of that space out front is, not to delve too far into this and sort of sabotage the town administrator's report, but if you were to incorporate firefighters memorial, Iraq and Afghanistan, I'm sure there'll be more conflicts in our lifetime. Unfortunately, like we don't even recognize them in terms of our Memorial Day process. It goes Revolutionary War and it ends at Vietnam, and we don't say anything. And we don't recognize Desert Storm, which we have folks that serve there, as well as Iraq and
That's
Afghanistan.
the Memorial Parade Committee, right? So they could be expanding that. We're not dictating what they're.
But it's where you put a wreath up. You have,
No, I
you have
understand.
the veteran. I mean, yeah, you saw it.
I've been there, done that many times.
So I
get
think
it,
it's
but-
it's something we ought to figure out, whether we have the space out here. There was also chatter about moving the monument that's down in the middle. I can't think of the name of it off the top of my head, but
Where the horse trough is?
yeah,
Well, there were 3 that were going to be relocated, and
Yeah.
none of them have been, to my knowledge.
it might be something maybe just put on the agenda for another meeting, because it probably is deserving of a deeper discussion in terms of what we think as
Yeah,
board
and I
members.
think there are a lot of things to consider about this, and I think there are other people in town who will have
An opinion.
an opinion about
Yeah.
this. So I think it's worthy of having an agenda
okay.
item.
So I think the agenda item would be that we need to staff that Monuments and Memorials Board correctly.
Yes,
And he's raised his hand.
yes.
You have Joe Dean
He's the one.
He's the
member.
one.
Yeah.
and then Dana Metzler.
So
He
Dan
doesn't
is
wanna
not,
renew.
sir, no, he's not.
What?
he's
He doesn't want to renew.
On
since
any of
he's
his.
Out of town now.
He's got he was on the Affordable Housing Committee. He's
Yeah.
stepping down from that too.
Yeah.
So we need to staff that with a third individual.
How many members are on that board? Do you
I
know?
think it's
3.
Memorials is
I think
probably
it's,
3.
I thought it
Yeah,
was-
there was one vacancy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So you can throw me down on
You
that.
might want to ask Sue Saladakis.
Yeah,
Right. I would ask her if she's interested in this, because she's participated in some of these discussions about the front lawn here a few times, which is,
And that's another thing, not to get too off track, I've been talking for a while, but that's another thing that Sue and I have been talking about let's kind of get the reappointments and any new appointments that we know of done this month, but then really have like a concerted effort to reach out to the community, try to fill
all the vacancies.
the vacancies, and let's communicate that clearly, and let's get it and try to generate some interest. So that's on the radar too. But okay, so the firefighters memorial, in memorials in general, we'll put on a future agenda. Thank you. You know this, but Senator Kennedy was able to secure $250,000 for the joint grass board culvert in the Senate budget. It's not a done deal. It needs to survive conference and it needs to be signed by the governor, but geez, that's really good news if it comes to
great
fruition.
news. Yeah.
We also submitted a One Stop for Growth grant application for the same project, so that depending on the success of the earmark, the money for the grant application will change, but we do need to provide at least a 10% match there, and that's a reimbursable grant if we get it. And OPEB, we do have a draft OPEB actuarial study that's been done. I have a meeting with the consultant this week just to review it, just to make sure that we're all on the same page, and then following that, once it's in final form, you'll all be receiving it.
Sweet.
All right.
Any comment from the town administrators in terms of the $2 billion plus budget shortfall the Commonwealth experienced?
Not that I've heard, but yeah,
Hear that's coming.
good times.
That was announced at a recent town administrators conference. We can't afford to send our town administrator to, but the state is short $2 billion. So
Yeah,
plan
we
accordingly.
Yeah,
That had to do with an unemployment issue.
used ARPA funds.
Yeah, they misused funds.
Oh, right,
Used
yeah.
federal funds, yeah.
So it makes me think of like the fire chief's new truck may not be a reality. That culvert project, you may start to see some things fall off.
30 billion for community preservation.
May not be matched. Yeah, yeah. It's a big number.
And through landing that, what was it, almost 200,000.
Yep.
Grant. Yeah, well,
We shall see.
It's an accounting error.
Yeah, just a minor one.
Rounding error.
Falling on the sword for that one.
Someone in Baker's office.
Yeah.
Not running for election again.
Okay, moving along. New business, old business. Any new business? Old business? I have one, and Mrs. Simmons.
I just would like an update on the mud. What's going on with the mud district? Any
So-
progress?
We have not heard back from MCO. The plant, they do have draft. We have had some back and forth on the draft LDA and lease agreement. I actually reached out to town council yesterday because it's been about a week since we heard. So I asked them to follow up with their attorneys to see where they're at. So I haven't heard yet, but town council said they would reach back out.
Are they not happy with?
I don't think so. No, I mean, like I think I said at the last board meeting, there are a couple outstanding issues, but, no deal breakers or anything of major significance, just, normal negotiations, I'd say. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And then I just want to bring, the two chiefs are here, right? And Eric. Back, wasn't all that long ago, maybe 3 years ago, the two chiefs, David Tully and the town administrator, or town manager, all had credit cards. And they were town-issued credit cards, right? Do you still have one, or did you never get one?
I'm waiting for it to arrive.
Okay,
We just reissued them all.
all right. And then Billy's going to get one, Dave Tully, yourself,
I'd like one.
Eric.
I want one, yeah.
I don't want one.
And they were out of Enterprise Bank. And there was some criteria on those. They had single purchase limits and they had aggregate purchase limits. So there was some controls around it. But if they needed to go out and do something, they had the credit card. So as long as we're putting that back into place, that would be a good thing because
I've talked to them all. We kind of figured out who needs them and why. We issued, Bonnie kind of, Erin started it, but Bonnie has seen it through. I just got mine late last week or early last week, whenever it was. So, yeah.
All right.
Everyone's
It's
just,
harder and harder to actually buy stuff that's not on the internet.
Yeah.
that's,
Yeah.
and it's true. That's exactly my point with them. And, we gave them out. I don't know whether Dave Tully still has his or
he
not.
does not.
He doesn't. Yeah.
He's getting it.
Yeah,
He doesn't have one.
No, he
He
needs one.
did at one point.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
did,
Yeah.
yeah. And then he also had a gasoline credit card. And we probably want to understand where that credit card is today. He had a gasoline credit card.
Probably like a Wright Express, right? Isn't that the company that does it? Wright
Yeah,
Express.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure I've seen your guys.
Like Wex? And okay, that's fine. Oh, you using it much?
No, it's really just for emergencies, like if there's a long-term power outage and because you guys have a generator, we can use it, or if you're traveling a long distance with cruiser, we can take it to the house. That's the time.
But if you, Wex is a card that if you don't use it, does it?
Does it expire?
Yeah,
Well, they're fine, they renew, we've got new ones, they live for another couple of years, we just got one last year, they lived for 3 years. And I'm the manager of the account, we just go and change when we get new employees, everybody has a PIN. It's pretty simple.
perfect. Perfecto. Okay, anybody, anything else?
Motion
got
to
nothing.
adjourn.
Yeah, second.
All right, carry on.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okey-doke. Good night, everyone.